Hi everyone, welcome to the world of OBS with StewiejP. I'm Stewie, you're not, and this is a little guide to the settings I use on my computer for OBS Studios when I'm recording stuff to put up on YouTube. Now I use it with World of Tanks and occasionally the odd other thing. I guess it could be transcribed to any game which has a replay function, or people who might be recording live stuff to put up to YouTube, Facebook, whatever else is out there. What else is out there? There's heaps of other things that are out there. Now, it must be said, there's a bit of a caveat here. I'm no IT expert. I didn't even finish high school. I'm a butcher by trade. Never studied all this thing. All of this information I've got is from doing research online, from asking questions of people, and experimenting as well. So a lot of the settings that I go through, I'll just be going over very, very briefly. But I will highlight the important ones to get you up and running if you want to be recording stuff using OBS to get stuff up onto YouTube, Facebook, social media, whatever else is out there. First of all, the website is OBS.com. I think it is OBS.com. I'll just have a quick look. It looks like that. OBSproject.com, I should have said. Right, it looks like that. You've got three options: Windows, Mac, Linux. And I think you should know which one of those it is. You download it, you open it up, you fire it up, and it looks something like this. There you go. That should look like, yeah, there it is. It'll look different because I've enabled the dark mode. I think it's a bit easier. Well, it is a bit easier on my eyes. There's three different versions that I know of OBS Studios. OBS Studios is what you might refer to as the vanilla version. That's the one that you'll get direct from obsproject.com. Link will be down below. There's also one that's known as Slobs, which is Streamlabs OBS, SLOBS, Streamlabs OBS. I don't use that at all. I use OBS Live, which is Stream Elements' version, which I find it's a little bit neater, or looks a little bit neater to me. And for me, it's good for both YouTube and for Twitch. Okay, looking at the when you open up the vanilla version, it'll look something like what you can see on the screen there. You can see World of Tanks is going there. On the right-hand side, I've got a list of different sources that I use to, and all those sources are sources of like the gameplay, the webcam. There can be text, it can be websites, and on the left-hand side, there's different scenes. There are different scenes, which you can see there. Different scenes like that. That's how you flick through the different scenes, and it shows you what you're going to do. Quick to the settings. Let's have a look at the settings. All you need to do, click on the setting button, bottom right hand side, and you'll be surprised. You won't be surprised when you click the setting button, this thing pops up. It's called settings. It's pretty simple. Rightio. All you need to do, settings, general, stream, output, audio, video, hotkeys, and advanced. They're the tabs along the left hand side of the screen. I believe it's the same with all versions of OBS. This is the guts of it. This is the guts of what's going to how many resources OBS is going to take from your computer and what it's going to create in the way of video. The first page, the general settings, most of it's pretty self-explanatory, and it's going to come down to your personal preference as well. The language, obviously. The theme, the dark theme, which the dark is default now. When I first did it, it wasn't. Automatically check for updates, things like that. It's all pretty basic stuff. Whatever is already there on the general side, I wouldn't touch it. I'm going to skip the stream side because we're not talking about streaming, we're talking about making videos. And the recording tab. On output, go to output, there's output mode. There's simple, which is probably what is already going to be up there. Now, don't go screenshotting what you can see there, because I haven't touched this. This is the basic thing which on the simple mode comes up. I haven't used it because the advice I've been given is to skip it. Go straight to advanced, and advanced recording. This is the guts of it. This is the guts of what the quality is going to be like on your system. As mentioned, my system is listed down below. I've recently updated the CPU. The CPU now is an i7-9700. It used to be a 6700, and I haven't changed any settings. This is what I used to use when I had the 6700 as well. And it should be noted that my graphics card is quite old. RAM's pretty good. CPU is pretty good. Graphics card's quite old, and that's probably the next thing I'm going to update. Looking again at the recording thing. Type, you go standard. I don't know why, that's where you do it. Recording path. This is the path where you want your video replays to be stored. Whereabouts? On your hard drive. I've got a few hard drives on my computer. You might as well. You might want to save it to an SSD. I wouldn't. I would generally save it to a normal hard drive because some of them can take up a lot of space, especially if you have more than one go at recording a certain video. Generate file name without spaces, that's up to you if you tick that one. Recording format, I use MP4. There are other versions there. MP4 is from my research, the simplest way of doing it, it's the most easiest to upload to YouTube. That's the big seller. I had a lot of trouble when I first started recording videos for YouTube. A warning will come up. If you're using MP4 or MOV, if you're halfway through and it crashes, you're going to lose a lot. I'll cop that on the chin. Most of my videos don't go for too long. How many audio tracks you want to use? Most people will use 2. I don't rescale the output. I'm already doing it at 1920 by 1080. And I don't even know what that means. I'm told leave that alone. Bottom half is the guts of it, I guess. Rate control. You want to control bit rate, CBR. You can experiment with other settings, but for simplicity, CBR is the way to go. And you tell it how many bit rates to use. For the record, this is 100,000. I've put in 100,000. It does generate quite large files, but I want the quality. You can make it smaller, and you could drop it to maybe 50,000 kbps, and you might not notice much of a difference. You might though, so I'm going for more. Keyframe interval is 2. I'm not sure what that means, but in all the guides that I read, 2 was the right one to use. Max quality is what I'm doing. Now, this sometimes is what trips computers up. If you're recording stuff and your computer's just not coping, drop that from max quality to quality or maybe performance. But max quality is the high quality videos. That's what we're trying to create. And profile high. I don't know what that means either. Leave this is all. This should all be stay as whatever it already says. Look ahead. Don't tick that. This thing, whatever that means, tick it. 0 and 2 down the bottom. Audio tab. All of it at 320. If you're right into audio, if you're into mixers and if you're into all that kind of jazz, you might want to play around with that. I'm not. I don't know anything about this kind of stuff, so leave it. This is what is the stock standard settings. Replay buffer. You can enable a replay buffer if you want. I don't. From memory, it takes a little bit of effort from your computer that you might not need to use. So that's the basic one. Screenshot that if you like. That's the basic. This is the main thing when recording. We will be doing another video similar to this one for streaming, and which will probably go for a little bit longer because it can be a little bit more intricate. There's a separate audio tab. Again, if you're right into all this kind of stuff, you'll know more than me. But pretty much all this audio stuff, you keep it at whatever is already set on there. This is all about these different inputs. You don't need to do that. I'll show you why in a minute when we get back to the main screen. The video one, the base resolution, which is what I play at, which is a normal 1920 by 1080 screen. That's what I play my games at, and I use that, and then the output, you keep that as the same. This is all the stock settings. Hotkeys I don't use. Some people do. I'm sure plenty of people do. I don't use hotkeys. What I do use is the Elgato Stream Deck as a shortcut to start, to record, and to switch between my different tabs, different sources and different scenes, all that kind of stuff. But I don't use any of these hotkeys. Feel free to play around with it. The advanced ones, again, I don't touch anything on the advanced tab. Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple. I reckon it's pretty simple. Then all you do, this is like I mentioned earlier, this is how mine looks. Got a list of sources here. Now it says OBS there because I'm recording this. I'm looking at OBS using OBS, which is a little bit tricky. Replay audio. If you look down the bottom, it is an audio mixer thing. We touched on the audio side of it. I've actually got 4 different sources. You can only see 3 of them there. The top one's the microphone, which is this bad boy right here. So if you're adding an audio source, you go into here and you can see these are all my audio sources, what's active and what's not, and what tracks that it uses. Again, it looks a little bit complex, but that's just how it sets up. Don't stress too much about it. If you want to add a source, you right click. Where do you do it? What do? You do it over here. You can add replay audio. That's one of them. Replay audio here is the for the game. That's noise that's coming from my game. This one's if I've got TeamSpeak running or Discord or something like that, and this is the one that I add for my microphone. To add different ones, I think you just click on here. Audio input capture. That's what you do. Click on that one, audio input capture, and there's one existing, my microphone. That's the one. That's how I've added that one to this one. That's with all the different audio sounds, which is generally going to be your microphone, which could also be your headset, and the replay audio. So the audio it might be from the game, This in this case, this is just desktop. This is just the if I go to the properties, it'll just be default, which is it's my desktop audio, which could be music playing in the background, it could be the game, or it could be I don't know, it could be something else recorded. All these sources over here, quite simple to add. The higher they are on the list, the more prominent they'll be. So the bottom one, if I close all of these, see I've got Water Tanks with StewiejP there. That's my bottom one. Then the game is on top of that one. My webcam is on top of that one. It's not working because my webcam is being used by the other OBS, which is recording this. Replay audio, which I can turn on and off. Now you should be able to hear the background noise, and OBS itself, which is there it is again, radio, because that's how we're recording this this video. The other tab is chat, and that's to do with streaming. Like I mentioned, this is OBS Live, what I'm using here, but it works exactly the same way with all the sources and stuff like that for OBS Studio, which is the vanilla version of this software. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Feel free to ask questions below. Lastly, the scenes. I've got different scenes here. I've got a blank scene. So when I start recording, I start on the blank scene, I hit go, record, I wait a couple of seconds, and then I move into this one. First gameplay, which you'll hear that pretty cool music. This is my intro that I have at the start of a water tank with StewiejP Ace Tanker replay video. Bit of a introduction was done by my little mate Stewie, who's bigger than me, and then by the time that comes out, you're back into the game. Now this OBS picks up water tanks as one of these sources. So if I'm playing a replay, this will be showing a replay. It won't just be showing the garage, which you can see right now. If I'm doing, my third source is just the gameplay by itself, which is what you can still see. So if I've already done the first one with this music at the start, at the end of that one, I'll flick over to the results screen, which is simply Google Chrome, and then I'll flick back to this gameplay tab again, which will be the next game. I've started that up in the background. That's how that one works. The results tab, which again is like what you've already seen. It's just showing the Google Chrome tab, which in this case is the OBS Studios, but normally I use for the results one. I use the watertanksreplays.com for the results of the Ace Tanker replay, and this is one which is exactly the same except the camera's bigger. Doesn't come up on this one, but I can show it on the one that you're seeing. There you go, much bigger. That's how that tab looks on OBS. Hopefully this has worked. Hopefully this is understandable. I hope I haven't made it too complex. There's also an outro tab, which if you look there, I have that at the end of the game when at the end of the video. Thanks for watching, that kind of stuff, and then it flashes back to the base thing. Hopefully this has been a relatively understandable video. I hope it's not too. Hopefully I haven't waffled too much. They're the base settings I use for recording videos for YouTube for water tanks. That could also be transcribed to other games for sure, simply by this game capture tab, which you might be able to see on the top right. Where is it? The game capture. If I go now, change that one back to gameplay. This game capture tab. If I go to properties, window is water tank. So you would change that to whatever game you might be playing. If you're doing different game, I know World of Warships and World of Airplanes work the same. Other titles probably do the same as well. Hopefully this has been helpful. So if you're stuck with the coronavirus or isolating, washing your hands, looking after yourselves, looking after your families, and you feel like recording some replays, feel free to use these settings. I'll be flattered if you did. I really would. Thank you again. Hopefully we'll be back recording really, really soon. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Look after your mental health. Look after your neighbours, your family, and most of all, everybody. Massive thanks to everyone who's looking after us and selling us food and doing the right thing, and a high five to everyone who's staying indoors as well. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully this has been a guide that might be helpful to some people. How to record replays, how to record stuff. Again, all these sources, there's so many different sources you can use. You can use a media source, which is like maybe a video file. An image, you can link to an image, which is what we've done with the bottom one. There was StewiejP, World of Tanks StewiejP on there. Game capture, colors, you name it. You can add whatever you like. And by using these arrows on the right-hand side, I think you can see them there, these arrows here, this will raise, if I raise the picture, see that image 3, which is the World of Tanks with StewiejP image, because I've raised it higher than the game, then you can't see the game, if that makes sense. So that's why it's below the game. So if I hide the game, I still see that picture. Does that make sense? There's an eye over there on the right-hand side. By opening or closing those eyes, you're opening or closing the different sources. And again, like as mentioned, if I lift this picture, if I raise it by clicking this arrow, it's on top of the game. Then if I lower it, it's below the game. So that's why you can see the game instead of the image, if that makes sense. Once again, thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully this guide's been helpful to some of you. If everyone's interested in getting on board the YouTube stuff, why not? Have fun with it. Enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Take care and see you all next time.